So, to summarize sports and societies, sport and exercise and play was one of the things that actually helped form human society. Socialization, I told you, was the activity of mixing socially with others. This starts as play. In younger individuals within a family, they practice adult behaviors, but they learn to build close emotional ties with those people within their family, specifically within their family. That's the idea of play. Now, active play has become much more important as a form of exercise. And this form of active play tells us that if you play outside more as a child, you're going to have almost half as much chance of being obese as if somebody plays more indoors or doesn't play at all. So play is fundamental for the development of young people. When you go from playing within the family to playing within society, that's where dance came in. Dance is this idea of taking families or small groups, bringing them together for really big, important gatherings. And dance was something that was a way to meet prospective mates. It was a way to show physical prowess. It was a way to do all of these things and build this relationship with others who are in other family groups around the world or around your little area of the world. And so dance was incredibly important for that social connection. It still is incredibly important for this social connection. My grandmother, who passed away now almost 20 years ago, what she did is she would go dancing every week. And that was part of her tradition. She would have this incredible social group and they would do a square dance thing together. In fact, we can point to the time where she was going downhill and she would eventually die, because what happened was she was a very proud lady. She got into a fight with one of the other ladies at the dance, and she got into a bit of an argument and they had a disagreement. And so she said, I'm not going for a couple of weeks. By the time she tried to go back to dancing again, she had lost so much physical fitness, she wasn't able to do it anymore. She was unable to continue, so she couldn't dance anymore. And her acceleration into her eventual death was absolutely accelerated by the fact that she wasn't able to dance. So dance is a way that we can increase our societal connection, build these bigger connections outside of our family group, and it's a way now that we can stay active throughout our lifespan. Sports were basically a transition from play, and it was a way that you could identify and train the strongest in society in case of war. So the idea is, at times of peace, we're going to train you so that you're going to be strong in case we have to go to war. But the last thing we talked about, how society is being changed by sport now, is that sport is actually providing a vehicle for fighting injustice. And one of the great ways that this happens is that sport is supposed to be a meritocracy. Most sport. Not the sports where you hold up a card and you say that was a 10, that was a 5, that was a whatever. Those are sports that are based on judging, and judging is always problematic. But the meritocracy comes from, if I'm going to have a stopwatch and I'm going to time you, or if I'm going to do something and I'm going to keep score, and there's no way for me to really manipulate who's scoring or not scoring, then the best individual, the best team is going to win. So that's one way that sport fights injustice, is the best wins. That's the ideal. It also gives opportunities that don't exist elsewhere in society. I gave the example of Joe Louis hitting a white man. In the 1930s, if he was to walk down the street and do that, there's no way he's living too much longer. But in sport, because he's confined within the regulations of sport, it gives him that opportunity. It gives him the opportunity, yes, I can do this thing that I'm not allowed to do in society, and I can show you that I'm actually better than this other person who society already has this preconceived notion that, oh, they're better. And then the last thing is, I gave you the example of John Carlos and Tommy Smith and Muhammad Ali as athletes who can then use the fame that comes with athletic achievement to have a pulpit from which to express their beliefs and express their beliefs on how society needs to change. And that's how sport and society mix together and continue to mix together. And we see that right now in the time of COVID-19, when You're shutting down all these sport leagues, and that has a huge financial impact on some of the poorest people in America. And then athletes are stepping up and saying, I'm going to take some of my salary and pay those people because it's not right that we have this inequality within society, and we have to look after other people in society. It provides these individuals with a pulpit from which to get those messages out so that the rest of society can take notice and change.